All right guys, so we've got some angle iron here. So what we're gonna do with this actually is we're gonna end up making some rails. As you can see, I've kind of cut the corner here. That's gonna be the corner that's coming close to the door. And we'll see if I can grab this and kind of show you what that's gonna look like. Oh, I don't know if you can see that, get an idea there. Okay, and you see that it's set back from the door, okay? These will be actually removable, just in case you needed something that to have some extra clearance for a larger product. And basically we've got this one here and we'll duplicate it for the other side. And then I'll show you how I'm gonna get that in there. Oops. All right guys, so we've got the rack support in drilled. So if you can tell, I drilled from underneath and also from the top. So what's gonna happen is the bolts are gonna go through here and so bolted into the back. This can be removed if you require that extra 1.5 inches of space when you're hanging something in there. The reason why we have the holes on the top is if we wanna run just like a steel line from one to the other to hang something without the rack in the way, we can also do that. So we'll get this one mounted in. What's gonna happen is the bolts are gonna go in. I'll tighten one up in the middle, make sure it's level, and then we'll drill the outside holes, and then we'll weld the bolts from the other side. So the bolts will be stationary, won't move, but we can unbolt it and rebolt it in again. So let's get that done. Okay guys, so I've got all the braces put in for the rack, as you can see. Okay, also got the hanger in. Now what's really nice about this hanger and how we've done it is we put a single bolt. So let me see if I can walk around here unless I get too bright with the light. But it'll go side to side and you can tighten it into what position you want. This way if you're hanging something a little bit bigger and you need it on an angle to get it in the oven, you can do so. These are also designed to be removed in case you want to save an extra 3 inches, and you can see how that's done. And you can unbolt it from underneath and actually remove these. Now there's holes on the top that line up with each other, so if you want to run a string or a metal line, I should say, and hang something without a rack, you can also do that, or a chain or whatever you want. Some guys will put some angle iron going across and do rims that way. It's really up to you. You can roll up a stand and do that, but we're getting there. Okay guys, so what we've done here is we've done a couple of cross members with some T-bar I have. So we're gonna put one on the very top and one at the very bottom. We've also cut a piece of 1.5 inch angle iron where the actual handle for the door is going to go. Let me grab that handle. I'll show you how that's gonna work out. So the handle will go like so. Of course the sheeting will be over top and the handle will go there. Okay, just to give the handle some extra strength. We also have marked up where our hinges are going to be. Okay, so the middle hinge will be right on the cross beam brace, so that'll give it some extra strength. And then of course at the bottom. So what we're gonna do here is we're going to add a piece of angle iron on the back side like so, okay? Just to give it some extra strength. And then we'll have the hinges welded in and then go from there. Okay, so we've got everything welded in. All the way down, as you can see. And then the bottom one. Okay, we got the braces all welded. Now, slow that camera down a bit. We've got the handles brace welded in. And you remember we had the racks here. And we've got got the bolts welded in the back so that we can remove them and put them back in if required. And it's done on both sides. We're getting there, guys. So now we'll clean up these welds. We've painted the control panel, so we dismantled the control panel and painted it. We'll be putting that back together. The next thing will be the sheeting for the door. So we'll get the door in place. And then we'll sheet the outside, insulate and sheet, and actually silicone all the seams. So we're getting there. Should be done shortly. So guys, you can see we have the oven on its back. We're gonna get ready now to do some high temp insulation. What we're gonna do first is we're gonna button up some of these welds. We're also gonna go ahead and do some high temp silicone on all the seams. What I've seen in the past, a lot of guys have used contact spray or 3M spray to adhere the actual insulation to the panels. That doesn't really make much sense to me. I mean, you could do what you like, but you don't want to be using a fire retardant product and then something that's, you know, highly flammable to adhere it to your oven. What we do is we cut the pieces to fit in nice and snug, then go ahead and we use a metal tape to seal up the seams, and I'll show you that as we go along. What I'm going to do now is just button up these welds, make sure that everything is where it should be, and then we'll get the high temp and we'll get started. I'll show you the step by step. Okay guys, so you can see here we actually added a couple of cross sections at the bottom just to strengthen it out. I had some extra material and I put a couple pieces of angle iron down the center pole or center post on the bottom just to give it a little bit extra strength. I've gone ahead and sealed it all up. Now we're going to get this bottom insulated and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Looking good. I've got the base of it, the bottom of the oven, actually insulated. And of course we use the aluminum tape to hold the insulation in place. I got some high heat or high temp paint and just shot some of the bottom of the feet. So the game plan is to actually get this bottom piece complete. So we're going to sheet it and finish the bottom off. This way we can get it back up on its legs. This way we can continue insulating everything else. But she's looking pretty good. So guys, we're looking at the side here of the oven. This is where the control panel is going to go. Of course, we still have to insulate it and seal it. But before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a tin plate. So when I put the outer sheeting on, I have markings where to pre-drill for the screws to hold the control panel and for the wiring that's going to come through. So what I've done here is I'm going to move over and you'll see I've got a piece of paper here, or cardboard stock. We're going to tape it on around the edges and put some pilot marks or scribes into it. And I'll show you how that's going to work out. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give myself a straight edge. Of course, the edging on the outside of the paper is straight. Of course, my cut there is not so good. So what we're going to do is we're going to mark that and we'll cut it nice and square. And then we'll tape it up against the oven. Okay guys, so the tin plate's done, and once we get the outer sheeting ready to go, we'll take that and put on top and trace it and pre-drill and cut out the holes for the grommets, and we'll be ready to rock and roll for the outer sheet. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get back to some high temp silicone and fire retardant insulation. So let's get to that. Okay guys, as you can see, this side is complete, insulated, and taped in. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to get working on some sheet metal. This is 20 gauge cold press. We're going to cut this piece for the bottom plate. This way we can get the oven back up on its feet. And then we can continue working on insulating the other side and the back, of course. So let's get this marked up and ready to be cut, and we'll get it installed, and I'll show you that. Okay guys, as you can see, we've got the lower plate or sheeting installed. We're going to use some self-tappers and put that in. We used the plasma cutter to cut it. Makes a nice clean cut. Real simple to use and works really, really well. So what we'll do is we'll get the self-tappers in there and we'll get that mounted. And then we'll move on to some more sheeting. Actually, what most likely we'll do today is we'll start up on the door, sheeting of the door. So we'll take it from there. All right guys, so you can see we've got the bottom all in. It's self-tapped all the way around. Put a couple just in the middle just to hold it so it doesn't belly out. The self-tappers that I'm using, I'll show you what they look like. Okay, work really, really well. Hold it in place. I do pre-drill before I put them in, so I don't snap any heads because they are Phillips. But they work quite nicely, and we'll be able to get this thing up on its legs, which is great. So what we're going to do now is we'll set up for the door ready to get sheeted, and then we'll start filming that. Okay guys, as you can see, we've got the door here. We've actually started sheeting it. We're doing the same method as we did at the bottom of the oven with the self-tappers. So what we're going to do is we're going to self-tap everything, get everything screwed in place. Then we're going to flip it over, and we're going to put some holes through the sight glass area, and we'll spot weld it, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. And then we're going to get the other side done of the door. It's looking good. There you go. Almost done. Okay guys, so we've actually completed the front of the door. We still have to cut out the sight glass. So what we're going to do is flip this door around on its front side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill some holes to secure it from the back side through the front. And I'll show you guys what I'm going to do with that. And then we're going to scribe the area where the sight glass is, and I'm going to show you how I do that. I don't actually use a grinder to do that, because on 20 gauge you don't want to use a cut wheel. You might go a little too deep. I'm going to use actually a scribe itself, and that works out quite nicely. And I'll show you how I do that, and then we'll cut that out with a plasma cutter. So let me flip this over, and I'll give you a look on what I'm going to do on the other side. Okay, so I have it on its back side, or actually its front side, and now we can actually see the back side of the door. So if you can see, I marked it. So we're going to pre-drill here, and we'll pre-drill the other side, and then we're going to flip it around and put screws into it. Okay. In this area here, we're going to drill, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. And then in here, we're going to scribe it before we actually cut out the sight glass. So let's do that, and I'll flip it over and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Okay, so I've got it flipped back onto its backside now, and you can actually see where I've done the holes. I've also gone ahead and did some holes down where the actual sight glass is going to be, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with those in a second. Okay guys, hold on. So we've got some clicos put in through those holes that you saw me drill. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually drill a hole on either side of them, like so. And then we're going to spot weld that. And then we're going to do that the same here, the same there, and all the way around. And then what will end up happening is once I finish spot welding, I'll remove the clicos and then spot weld those holes. And that should be good. And then we'll be able to flip it back and scribe the other side. These things are awesome. You know, I would recommend if you're doing any kind of sheet metal or automotive or any kind of work like that, they hold your piece down real nice. You can remove them easily and reuse them. They're awesome. Okay, so let's get some holes drilled and we'll get going. All right guys, so I filled in the spot welds. So I drilled one hole on each side, and we spot welded them. I just cleaned them off. Now we'll remove those and actually put a spot weld in each one. And then we'll flip her over and get ready to cut out the sight glass. Basically what I did is I took my scribe like so and just carved right into the corner all the way down. Okay. And I did that all the way around. Okay, so now it'll help with a little bit of the bending. So we're going to get the plasma cutter and cut out the center, and then we're going to bend some of that forward up back onto the angle iron, and I'll show you how that's going to look. Guys, so you can see that I've got the sight glass door or section opening done. So you see that I've bent the front panel over the T or over the angle iron and flattened it out all the way around. So it gives it a nice compression fit, and that's going to work out quite nicely. And we'll have a gasket that goes over that anyway, and then we're going to put a piece of glass, of course. So let's get this back on its back side, and we'll take a look at the front. Okay guys, so we got the front of the door here, and you can see how that sight glass opening is done. Panel's nice and snug. Looks awesome. Okay, and then what we'll most likely do over the spot welds is we'll put a little bit of glaze and then sand it all down. I mean, the door's got to be sanded and cleaned up anyway, but she's looking good. We still got to put a handle on it, and then the back side of the actual door. So I think we're going to call this a cut for this this video. It's getting a little long, so the next one we'll be placing all the outer sheeting, building the rack, and painting, and then we should be done. And of course also installing the gloss. So guys, I really appreciate all your support and watching me put this together. I hope you guys all learned something, and stay tuned for the next one. Thanks.